Hi guys, it's Mary. Welcome back. Today we're going to put on some makeup from the Glitzy Fritzyville basket and do my face. Talk a little bit about just whatever pops in my head, okay? Let's just say that. Just whatever pops in my head. Oh, that's a lot. I'll tell you what, one thing is about using concealer for a primer, you shouldn't get too much. I mean, I've got enough for both eyes on one eye. I got this confused with a different concealer. This concealer doesn't take but just a dab. It's like full coverage. It's from the Glitzy Fritzyville basket, you know, the Patrick Starr one that I put in there. I gotta tell you though, I'm already regretting a few of my choices. I'm like, how am I gonna go until I pan something and that can't be this? I mean, because I only had a little bit of this to start with. We'll use that today, but yeah, it can't be something like that. But, you know, I cannot stop this box until I've finished something. Get my lemonade here. You should see all of the drinks that I have sitting to the right of me. Actually, it's not too bad. It's just 3. Sometimes I've had 5 different drinks in here. What have you guys been up to? Oh, I wanted to tell you guys the story about my computer. 7 years ago, well, actually it was longer than that, because if you guys remember on my channel, we actually went there together to return my computer that I had, like it was still under Apple Care, and then they had to give me a whole new one. That computer was the one that went out 7 years later. The machine was 2015 when it was built, put together or whatever, so they're saying, Apple doesn't even want this machine. They'll recycle it. And I'm like, no, because I think that what you'll do is, which I don't know why I thought this, because I went to the refurb shop and I saw that they didn't have any 2015s. So he was telling me the truth, I'm sure, but I was just like, no, I don't want that. I don't want to just recycle it and buy a new one. So the machine I have is, I think, lesser quality than the one that I gave up, but whatever. Anyway, what can you do? I took my machine back home with me, and then I started working with the new computer. Well, heck, by the time you get, because you got 14 days and you can return it, right? Okay, but here's the thing. By the time you get all your software and stuff on the new one to test it out, and I'm like, I'm going to run this thing through it, okay? But in order to do that, I actually have to put Final Cut Pro on there, put the videos on there, work it, download all my software, all that jazz. And after you go through all of that, I mean, unless you just absolutely hate it, at this point, aren't you going to keep it? So I really didn't want to have to take it back. As long as it was, you know, keeping up with me, then I guess I'll go ahead and keep it. It was, and I thought, okay, here's what I'll do. I'll take the computer over to a computer shop and I'll have them put a new hard drive in it. And if it's under X amount of dollars, then I will just sell it. But as I was sitting there talking to the guy, I thought, oh, I don't really want to do that because there's so many fraud things that go on with Apple, and you know, I don't want to mess with it. I know that it takes a long time to legitimately sell Apple products, and most people do not have the space in their home for a 52-inch view of monitors. Okay, and the reason I say that is because I had a 27-inch iMac, and then I had a 27-inch Apple secondary monitor, dual monitor, okay? So 54 inches of screen was what I was used to looking at. And now you know why I call that machine Monster Mac. Little did I know that this dual monitor situation was actually causing me to work slower. I know, right? You're like, what? How's that? Well, I'll tell you how that is. I'm not really a multitasking kind of person. I'm a grasshopper, so I flip from thing to thing. And with a dual monitor, I've got stuff over here like Facebook, Instagram, you know, YouTube, whatnot, and my editing in front of me on the other. And so what was happening was I was actually working slower because I'm playing on one monitor instead of working. So I discovered that going down to this one 24-inch monitor, I was actually able to work faster than when I had 54 inches of screen real estate in front of me and 2 monitors. Who knew? So now I've decided that I don't want my other system back. I want to keep this new system. But what am I going to do with this? I took this computer over to the computer store and I made a deal with the guy. I'm like, what would you, because he was impressed with the system. I'm like, how much is the hard drive going to cost? He told me, and I'm like, Now, before you think that I totally, as my son would say, played myself, I know a couple of things about the system. I know that I've been working at Mach 5 with my hair on fire for the past 7 years with it. And when I say that, I mean not just YouTube videos. YouTube videos are a recess for what I was doing without a break. Like 3/4 of the time, the thing never even got turned off in the last 7 years with Final Cut and Photoshop, music, at least 2 browsers, other work-related software going all at the same time. And I'm thinking that if the hard drive finally choked on this thing, then we're not far behind to lose the graphic card. And I just don't even want to mess with a machine that Apple says they can't get parts for anymore. So the best place for this to be is in this guy's hands. And so, faced with the thought that I may have to go back up to Apple and just trash it in their recycle, I decide that I'll make a deal with him. Why don't you buy it from me? You put a hard drive in it and sell it. Or keep it your own self, you know? I mean, I know that the average person doesn't have the room or want that kind of a setup, but I used it in the job that I did prior to YouTube. And, you know, I mean, this machine's been worked to death, but, you know, somebody like him might be able to put this to use, or at least know people who would. And he's like, okay, comes up to like 100. And I'm like, he doesn't know about the second monitor yet. I said, I'll tell you what, how about you give me 300 and I'll give you this and the other monitor that goes with it. And he's like, it's got another monitor this size? And I go, yeah. He says, okay. So that's what I did. And I'm like, now I don't have to take it to Apple to recycle. And I got $300 out of the deal, which I was pretty happy with. So he says, okay, you know, I can't give you that money, though, because I don't have that much in the drawer. And I said, I'll tell you what, how about you keep Monster here, and then I will swing back by tomorrow, and you can give me the $300, and I'll give you the extra monitor. So when I come back the next day, he goes, I just want to tell you so you don't ruin your new Mac. You need to dust where you're at better. And I'm like, that's highly offensive. I'm not dirty. We're going to go right in here. As you can see, I've X'd a couple out already. We're going to go right in there and try that one. Okay, which I know it has glitter, but I think it has less glitter. Holy crap. This has got so much glitter in this palette. But that sure is pretty, isn't it? Anyway, he tells me about all of this. He guesses it's dust. He doesn't know. But they have never, in the whole time this shop's been open, which is like 10 years, I guess, they have never seen such a filthy machine on the inside. And he just wants me to know that it didn't cause the hard drive to go out. It didn't have anything to do with that. But things can fail on your machine when it's this filthy. And this is the most filthy machine we've ever seen. I'm like, what? And he keeps on this whole dust thing. Well, when I got over to my mom's later, she nailed it. Okay, that's exactly what it was. He doesn't know that, okay? But what it is, and I'm telling this to you in case you have your computer in the same room where you have loose powder flying around. Oh, you know the powder queen goes and attacks powder. I mean, I get it all over me. I get all over the place. And it's fine enough milled that it can get up inside of the computer. And for 7 years, I have been sitting right next to my computer just going hog wild with loose powder. And I have been hyper aware of this ever since. Okay, so it's not just powder. It's eyeshadow that I blow all over the place. Blush, highlighter, all of it. I mean, all the powder cosmetics that get thrown and blown around inside this very close proximity to my computer. And that is what was on the inside of it. So now I have a trash bag. I turn off my computer and I put the trash bag over it because this one's small enough that I can do that. I put the trash bag over it so that no powder can get into it. But that's what it was. He told me, he goes, we had to empty the compressor twice for this machine. And I almost wanted to go back and tell him, because I know he thinks I'm filthy. It's loose powder. That's what it is. Anyway, I have found that I am faster on this smaller machine, and it's just blowing me out of the water. And I've been timing myself to see how long does it take me to process a video. And the whole reason, like I said, is because I am not doing stuff on a second monitor. I am focused on the task in front of me. I never realized until I didn't have the second monitor anymore how much of my time is spent like moving the mouse in wide. I mean, with the Mighty Mouse and that little screen, I'm just like right here with the mouse. When you have two monitors and it's 54 inches in front of you, you're traveling not a long way. I mean, it's not like a walk to the mall, but you know what I'm saying. You're moving your arm a lot and you're doing this because the monitors are in front of you like this, and you've got to turn them at an angle so that you can see to the edges of each. Okay, because you're like right on top of them and you're doing this all day. I swear to you, I did not realize how much more energy I was taking, why my eyes were so tired. Got one more use out of this primer and then it's going to be gone. And then I can switch baskets. No, I'm kidding. While we're talking about this, I want to point out something. You see that line? That was like right there. And I thought that meant that I had like from here down to go. No. This was down here. I've used it up to here, and we have all of this to go. That's really actually quite a lot. I mean, I can't believe it. I've used this 3 times already. I just poked myself in the eye. Somebody call 911. Do you guys remember when we didn't have 911? Probably something you haven't thought about in a while, right? Do you remember when you used to call the operator? Remember calling the weather? What was it? 72s? 22222. What is that what it was? You'd get up in the morning, you want to know what the weather was going to be, and so you call the weather. You remember that? Call the time. All things we don't need to do anymore. And I was over at my mom's the other day. Like I told you guys before, I go over there on Friday and we watch home movies. We were watching some the other day and my sister had on a beeper. Now, my beeper stayed at the hospital. Anybody who works at the hospital knows that back in the day, you had beeper, right? And the beeper stayed at the hospital. Unless you were on call. But, you know, the beeper sound. Hold that thought for a second. Have you guys noticed that this isn't just a silver cap, but this is like actually, this is a mirror in here. I mean, it's the best silver cap I've ever seen because I could actually do my makeup in this, looking at this, because it's a freaking mirror. If it just didn't say Wayne Goss right there. Whatever. I've been wearing this. This has been the only one I've been using. You know, I've been using my fingers. I've been using the puff. I've been using a brush. This first time I'm using it this way. I can't remember if when I got this, I used it with a sponge or how I did it. But the puff that came with it or that I bought with it is dirty. So we're not using that today. Although the sponge is damp, so I guess we could. I'm trying to do what I told you guys I was going to do and not reach for this unless it's an emergency. Anyway, going back to what I was saying about the beeper. I mean, I guess the things they do now would be better because you could like call for help. Like if you was on a code and you need, actually, that happened to me once. I was on a code and we needed help and we had to go all the way to the nurse's station. Do you want to know what happened? This happened when I was a student at a training hospital. That particular hospital did turn out what hospitals considered to be the best techs. We knew our stuff by the time we graduated because we had to. I remember when I was training, I was in my second year, and there was these first years, and the people in my class, we called these two the Bobbsey twins, okay? And the reason was because they would wear ponytails, both of them. They were about the same height. You know, they kind of looked like the kind of girls that would hang out together, right? Similar hair color, similar height, similar makeup, okay? And one of them wore her ponytail on this side of her head, and the other one would wear it on the other side, and they'd walk together down the hall, and it looked like... But anyway, when the Bobbsey twins were in their first year, and I was a second year, there was this person that came in that needed some sort of a skull x-ray. I don't remember what it was. They wanted to know, why wouldn't the techs help us? Mary, why won't they help us? I'm like, you got me and I got you, girl. That's it. We got to learn, okay? Go get the books. We got to learn, Oh my gosh, I'm sure you couldn't get by with this today. But yeah, that's what was happening at this particular hospital. They had no qualms with making us go on codes. That hospital on my resume, it was like, yeah, automatic hire. I can go anywhere I want. Because the graduates from that hospital, all the hospitals in the area knew that they were seasoned, fully operational techs at graduation. Right or wrong, that's just how it was then. Just before I graduated, I had 4 hospitals offering me competitive sign-on bonuses to choose them. But while we were students and we got sent on a code, there's 3 of us. Me and 2 of the guys that were in the class with me. One of us messes with the machine. 2 of us go and put the cassette, because you don't have to do this now. It goes straight from the machine to downstairs digitally now. But back then you had to film. 2 of us lift the patient up, put the film down behind them, okay, and take the x-ray. And, the 3 of us work together perfectly. So we get up there and we're doing our thing. Now, I'm the one working the controls on it. So I'm behind because the guys, they can lift more. Here's the machine. And then the arm comes up like this. It swings over like this. And then you can take the tube and put it where you need to put it to take the x-ray. After the x-ray was taken, then they'll swing it back my way. I'll grab it, put it down, and we'll take off and go develop the film. But that's not what happens this day. I'm bent over like this, putting something in the tray, and they swing the thing around, and I came up, and it, bam, hits me in the head. It knocked me out. I went black. I blacked out on a code. Now I want you to picture this, okay, because it's a code. Nobody is stopping what they're doing. Everybody, my friends or my buddies, the nurses, the doctor, they're all stepping over me to do what they need to do. But I'm on the floor, passed out. So now they've got to call downstairs and get a couple of techs up there because I'm blacked out on the floor. I'm not even sure what they did as far as covering their butts on that. There's no workman's comp or anything like that for a student. But back to the beeper thing and the things they have now. All you'd have to do now is go, tech down! Look how pretty that looks. It looks so pretty, and doesn't it look pretty? Too bad this flakes. If this flakes again today, I'm going to call it quits. That was why I stopped using this mascara in the first place, was because I would buy new tubes and they started flaking really fast. So I was like, man, they're selling old tubes of mascara. I think we're going to take just a little bit of this fairy dust here. And I do mean a little bit because this stuff will go flying everywhere. Just kind of not in the mood for it. And why? Because I uncovered all the holes. Because I didn't know that loose powder can get in your computer. Somebody said, Mary, my lips are going away. Mine are too, honey. All right, but how do I make them look a little bit bigger without overlining and looking ridiculous? Well, this is what I do. I don't do this all the time because it's too much work. But take your lipstick. I'm going to take this one and I'm going to put it on. Okay, blot. Do it again. And one more time. I'm just really scrubbing in the color. Now I'm going to put the lip liner on. This, I think, makes my mouth look a little bit bigger when I take the lip liner after I've got the lipstick on. See, look how much bigger that is in this. It's because I am overlining. But I'm not doing it to the degree that you would if you deliberately overlined. And then if you take a little bit of gloss, and I just put it right in the center. Back to my computer situation though, I did lose the Glitzy Fritzy production folder off my hard drive. What else was in that Glitzy Fritzy production folder was the fritziness file for the last half of the year. Christmas time, I always put out Best of Fritziness. And that had all this fritziness for that were clips you have never seen. okay? Because I thought a nice Christmas present this year would be fritziness you've never seen before. So excess fritziness from the year is gone now. And they were like, why don't you have this backed up? And I go, because I film and it makes this noise that sounds like electronic garble to me. You guys tell me you can't hear it, but I can. When I'm editing it, I can hear it. And it is atrocious. What it is the backup hard drive. Where the time machine backs up, well, I would turn it off so that you wouldn't hear that, and then I would forget to turn it back on. Everything else I had, taxes, you know, stuff like this, it's all backed up to the cloud. I pay for Apple Cloud every month, and I back up stuff there. And also movies, TV shows, music, all that stuff. That is all backed up to the cloud also with iTunes. Everything that I had except for things I have downloaded and used, music I use for my videos, that's all gone, and I have to start all over again remaking that stuff. Now for sure, I'm backing up all the time. I just turn everything off, computer and everything, when I film now. And so, yeah, I'm just going to have to be better about it. But I don't know what I would have done if I'd have lost all my music and stuff. Can you imagine, like, back in the day when we had records? Which also makes me think of something that you guys may have not have done this, but do you remember when you would get those things in the mail for, like, books and records where you, like, pay a penny and you get 12, and then you have your membership, and then you have to buy, like, 3 more over the next year or whatever. And then you'd hurry up and buy those 3 and cancel it and then start over. That's how I got so many things, that's what I do. Tell me I'm not the only one who used to do that. Shy Guy's really happy. Grasshopper here, I've hopped back to the computer thing now. I just didn't tell you. He got the Bose speakers out of the deal. I couldn't believe how much stuff I don't need anymore that I had in here. You know, for example, the new computer has built-in speakers that aren't bad. I can certainly do what I need to do with those speakers. And so that took the Bose speakers out of here. Don't need them anymore. Well, he is just thrilled to death because we bought a record player not that long ago, and so we could listen to our vinyl because we still have it, and some of it in duplicate. And he hooked those up to it, and now that's pretty rockin'. So he's real happy about not having to buy a new computer, but that he got to have those Bose speakers. This keyboard is smaller, this mouse is smaller, just having those monitors out of here. I just can't believe how much more space I have. Anyway, I'll be back in just a few minutes. And I hope you guys had fun today, putting on some makeup together and just kind of chit-chatting. I enjoy doing that with you guys. Anyway, I wanted to let you know, in case you don't already know, that you are the best part of the Fritzy family. And that if you're not having a blessed day, the way you can get one is to go be a blessing to somebody else. And until next time, love you, see ya. Bye. And I'm out.
Can't be like wanting anything else because I'll just go get it out of the drawer. Because I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I brush my eyelid. I don't want anybody else. When I think about you, I get my brush. Yeah, by the time that you get all your software on it, PETA. Why am I putting that like that? I do solemnly swear to take you, rare beauty, as my... What? Because it's on my wedding. Never mind. Ow, I poked myself in the eye. Somebody call 911. Ugh. Have glitter, will travel. Like I got a big tongue like that dog filter on Snapchat. No, it goes... How does it go? Ah. Doctor, doctor, give me the news. I got a bad case of loving you. No thrill's gonna cure my ill. I got a... bad case of loving you. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It makes this kind of like a duck. Donald Duck.